Hello and welcome to iWizard. Today I'm going to be doing my very first book haul, and it just so happens that today's book haul is going to be absolutely, positively epic. Get ready. All right, so we're going to get started with this huge package that Baen Books sent me. You can see the size of this thing, absolutely gargantuan, stuffed to the brim package of books here. So and I'll show you the inside of that. You can see it there. Got a nice little Baen lanyard. And I read Baen Books. I do read Baen Books, and full disclosure, that is exactly why I reached out to Sean Korsgaard, who is an editor over there, and I told him basically how fast our channel is growing. We've only been doing this BookTube thing for probably 4.5 months, and we're at about 900 subscribers, and so we're doing really well, and I just told Sean how much I love Baen Books, and promised him that if he sent me some books, I'd review them. And so he got back to me and asked me, hey, what do you like? Who are some authors that you like? What are some titles that you're looking for? Do you want hardcover or paperback? And I'm going to admit to you right now, I thought Baen might send me 3 or 4 books. This is what Baen sent me. Okay, this giant box of books just filled to the brim with goodies. So if you don't know, Baen specializes in fantasy, sort of traditional fantasy with cool magic systems, science fiction. They do a lot of space opera, military science fiction, alternate history. Their sci-fi is very much reminiscent of both pulp era and kind of golden age sci-fi. I also really appreciate Baen's commitment to free speech and just kind of letting their authors be themselves. Another thing I want to say is I like that Baen is not afraid to let their authors have a little bit of fun and kind of give the people what they want. And so let's start by going through some of these books. And I'll just say a lot of these authors I haven't read before, so a lot of this is going to be new to me. And I'll just show you what Sean sent me, and I'm hoping to review as many of these as I can. Really excited to dig into these. First up, we have Tim Powers. This book is called Alternate Routes. Alternate Routes. The ghosts of the freeway are rising. Pretty cool looking there. Something weird is happening on the Los Angeles freeways. Phantom cars materialize, lanes from nowhere appear, and sometimes unmarked off-ramps show up that give glimpses of a desolate desert highway in an unknown world. You have me at that already. And my wife Nikki is actually going to be reviewing this book pretty soon. Love the cover art. All right, and next up we have T.C. McCarthy's Tiger Burning and Tiger Bright. Looks like these are the first 2 books in a series. I have not read this author, T.C. McCarthy, Resist the Alien Invasion, so it looks like this is futuristic, military, sci-fi, alien invasion subgenre. Looks like a lot of fun. Hopefully you can see those titles there. Next we have Gunpowder and Embers, Last Judgment's Fire. This looks like John Ringo and 2 other authors. John Ringo is New York Times bestselling author, pretty popular. I know he does military sci-fi. I think he does alternate history sometimes, thrillers, things like that. This one looks like some good old American fun right here. If you can see the cover of that, pretty cool looking. Okay, so we have what looks like an anthology, the Jim Baen Memorial Award, the first decade, with stories by Brad Torgerson, Jennifer Brozik, etc., etc. Positively Spacebound, the very best from the annual contest sponsored by Baen Books and the National Space Society. Oh, that's really cool. I think I've seen this online when Baen puts out those calls for stories to enter the Jim Baen Memorial short story contest. So this looks like an anthology of some of the best of those. Next up is Overruled. This is an anthology that I've wanted to get for quite some time. It's edited by Christopher Rocchio, one of my favorite new authors. And what it looks like to me is it's sort of legal thrillers in space, which, if that's the case, that would be awesome, with stories by Larry Niven, Tom Kidd, Susan Matthews, Robert A. Heinlein, Arthur C. Clarke, Larry Correia, and more. Sorry, Earthman, you are overruled. So this, I guess, is predicting what would happen in the future when it comes to law and legal theory and just stories that have to do with that. So it's edited by Christopher Rocchio and Hank Davis, so it should be really good. Next up, we have another anthology. These are so much fun. This is what Baen Books is all about, right? Baen is the only publisher that will do stuff like this. This is called Gunfight on Europa Station, The Weird West Takes to Space, a dark, diverting anthology edited by David Boop. And stories by some big names: Elizabeth Moon, Alan Dean Foster, Jane Lindskold, Will McCarthy, and that sort of thing. This looks fantastic. I love that fun, old school, pulpy cover art. The final frontier ain't so final in these 12 tales of space exploration. Michael Mersault, The Deep Man. The Deep Man. I have never read this author, but he keeps popping up on the Baen, Facebook page, so I have heard of him. This looks kind of like it's cyberpunk. It takes a warrior to relight the galaxy. Let's see. The galactic imperium of the myriad worlds has slumped into centuries of decadent peace, enabled by a flood of advanced technology from the mysterious non-human shapers. Oh, okay. So military sci-fi, cyberpunk, looks like space opera kind of stuff. Really good. I'll have to take a closer look at that a little bit later. Here is another anthology edited by Christopher Rocchio and Hank Davis. These just bring a smile to my face. So much fun. This one is called Cosmic Corsairs, and this is an anthology apparently of space pirates. Space pirates on the rampage. I love how Baen Books just goes all the way and isn't afraid to be a little bit campy. Rousing adventure, daring do, brave heroes battling scurvy galactic vermin. We have here a treasure chest of tales of the greatest pirate adventure. You get the picture. It looks like we have some big names in this one as well. Let's see if we can get we have Elizabeth Bear, Larry Niven, Christopher Rocchio, Fritz Leiber, Gregory Benford, Sarah Hoyt, James Blish, Robert Silverberg. These are great authors. These are classic authors. So it looks like these anthologies are not just current authors. It looks like Christopher Rocchio and Hank Davis are getting permission from the estates of these various authors to republish their stories. So this is fantastic. Up next is Jane Lindskold's Library of the Sapphire Wind, book 1 of the Overwear series. Instead of mentors, they got monsters. Oh, this looks fantastic. A provoking tale of magic and politics. And this just looks like a lot of fun. Looks like we have anthropomorphized animals and dragons. The art got that old classic, old school fantasy art. This should be a pretty good time, and I've never read Jane Lindskold. Next up, we have Tim Akers' Night Watch, as in knights in shining armor. When destiny comes calling, answer. So John Rast went to the Ren Fair looking for a fight. Well, a simulated fight with blunt swords and safety equipment. But when his final opponent turns into a living, fire-breathing dragon, John finds himself in the fight of his life. And that's when destiny comes to call. John is spirited away to the hidden base of Night Watch, the organization that stands between humanity and the real nasties the rest of the world doesn't know about. It almost seems like it has a kind of Buffy / Men in Black sort of feel. Oh, look at what it says. Look what I just called here. Men in Black at the Ren Fair. Okay, so I was right about that. Okay, next up we have Today I Am Carrie. Ooh, how fun. Look at that cover. Today I Am Carrie. Machine Human Carrie, a dazzling ride through the near future. That's a review by Jack McDevitt. This looks really interesting. Looks like AI trying to fit in with humanity. The AI takes care of someone who has Alzheimer's, and then once the person with Alzheimer's dies, Carrie seeks to understand life's challenges. Carrie must learn to live, to grow, to care, to survive, to be. That looks really interesting. Wow. Next up, we have DJ Butler's In the Palace of Shadow and Joy. Save the singer, save the world. DJ Butler says Larry Correia is a great storyteller. I have never read DJ Butler, but I know that Christopher Rocchio is good friends with DJ Butler. Look at that beautiful, like 1980s style fantasy art with the map on the back that wraps around. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, up next we have, this is like the penultimate Baen style book right here. Weird World War III Haunted Cold War Visions. So this is an anthology edited by Sean Patrick Hazlitt with stories by David Drake, Mike Resnick, Brad R. Torgerson, John Langan, Sarah A. Hoyt, and all sorts of other. We got T.C. McCarthy again. So these are Baen's military science fiction authors. I know a lot of authors at Baen do military science fiction and military alternate history. This is such a Baen cover right here. It looks so good. I can't wait. Man, when I get on summer break, I am going to read all of these. Next up, we have Will McCarthy's The Collapsium. Will McCarthy's The Collapsium. McCarthy has Heinlein's knack for breakneck plotting and, at the same time, Clark's thoughtfulness. Okay. Ingenious and witty, as if Terry Pratchett at his zaniest and Larry Niven at his best had collaborated. Save the solar system from ultimate collapse. Okay, so this looks like some classic hard science fiction. All right, up next we have another book by Will McCarthy, The Wellstone. The future as McCarthy sees it is a wondrous place. Baen is so good at hard sci-fi, at space opera. Everything can be programmed except human destiny. Humanity has conquered the solar system and death itself has been vanquished. Wellstone, programmable matter, ensures that no one need ever age past adulthood. But for the children of immortal parents, life remains a constant state of arrested development, and a prince shall remain a prince forever, never inheriting the throne. So what is a royal minor to do? Go to the well. Wow. The New York Times says, imagination is the only limit. Next, we have Straight Out of Dodge City. Straight Out of Dodge City. Some more pulpy Western fantasy fun from Baen Books. The weird Wild West stampedes into Dodge will leave readers laughing, spooked, and entertained throughout, with stories by Mercedes Lackey, Harry Turtledove, and other great authors. This looks fun. Ghost Riders in the Sky and on the Prairies and Plains too. It's the final showdown between heroes and darkness in the Old West. Humans versus monsters, supernatural beings versus greater evils, with a dinosaur or two thrown in for fun. Come explore the untold myths of the West, but no dying on the trail. Oh, this looks fun. Okay, next up we have Dan Cobalt, Domesticating Dragons. Whether pet or predator, the dragons are among us. A Library Journal best book in 2021. This looks great. Jurassic Park meets Build-A-Bear Workshop. I might have to read that tonight. Next up we have Eric Flint, one of Baen's big authors. George Huff, Paula Goodlett, A Ring of Fire, The Alexander Inheritance. So this is a Ring of Fire novel. Another engaging alternate history book from a master of the genre. What is this about? It says, twice before, the mysterious cosmic catastrophes have sent portions of the Earth across space and back in time. Now the planet is struck with yet another such cataclysm whose direct impact falls upon the Queen of the Sea, a cruise ship in the Caribbean. The crew and passengers discover themselves in the Mediterranean Sea more than 2,000 years in the past, and what will become known as the Hellenistic period, a time in which Greek civilization spreads around the Mediterranean and beyond, a time of civil war, a time of bloodshed. Wow. Okay, so a cruise, imagine going on vacation on a cruise, and suddenly your ship, maybe sails through your Bermuda Triangle and ends up thousands of years in the past. This is, so much fun. We have another one of these Okay, great. Eric Flint, George Huff, Paula Goodlet. This one's a hardcover. Look at that beautiful art there. The Macedonian Hazard, another Ring of Fire novel. And let's look at what this one is about. Yes, it's the same one. Okay, Stranded in a Distant Past of Hope and Strife. So looks like that's the first or second one of this. A new storyline addition to Eric Flint's all-time best-selling Ring of Fire series. Okay, so this is just another one of those. Very cool. All right, Gun Runner by Larry Correia and John D. Brown. This is one I've heard of because someone on Mike's Books Discord, Brent, was telling us that this was a good book. Brown and Correia prove that the worst monsters come in human form, and so do the people who slay them. Fast-moving and powerful, this is science fiction about the prices people are willing to pay to beat back the dark. So this one has a lot of praise, it looks like. Alrighty, up next we have Straight Out of Deadwood, The Weird Wild West Rides Again. This looks like a follow-up anthology to the one that I just held up earlier. First, there was Straight Out of Tombstone. Now we venture to an even wilder frontier town, Deadwood, and its creepy environs. Okay, so they do anthologies, apparently. This is Charlene Harris, Mike Resnick, DJ Butler, Jane Linskold. Very cool. It looks like they're just doing Western anthologies from sort of iconic Western towns. Alrighty, we have, here it is, Michael Z. Williamson, A Long Time Until Now. This is one that I am currently reading, and it is the first Baen book in this box that I'm going to be reviewing. I will be reviewing that coming up here very soon, probably this week or this coming weekend. This is Michael Z. Williamson, one of Baen's bigger authors, and this is 10 U.S. soldiers on convoy in Afghanistan suddenly find themselves lost in time. Somehow they arrived in Earth's Paleolithic in Asia with no idea how they arrived or how to get back, or if it's even possible to get back. Then they discover groups of the similarly displaced Imperial Romans, Neolithic Europeans, and a small cadre of East Indian peasants. Then, just as the Americans start accepting their new reality, new arrivals change it all again. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through this book, and it's a lot of fun. The author clearly researched the Paleolithic era because there's a lot of detail. The author knows a lot about like survival skills and things like that. So the book has been a blast to read. It's not really deep stuff. It's just a lot of fun and kind of a cool thought experiment. And the author makes it feel really plausible because he seems to have a lot. I've noticed he's been publishing articles about the Paleolithic. Okay, Michael Z. Williamson again. This is the sequel to the book I just held up. Nice hardcover edition. This recently came out. Soldiers on a Mission Through the Folds of Time. That was now. This is then. Look at that fun sci-fi art. Soldiers pull together to create a solid society. Outstanding entertainment. So I'm not going to read the synopsis on this one because, again, the synopsis here might actually spoil what happens in the book I'm currently reading. So, hey, when I'm done with that one, maybe I will pick this one up and give this one a review as well. I think I might. Okay, there it is. We have Son of the Black Sword by Larry Correia. This is book 1 of the Saga of the Forgotten Warrior series. I've heard great things about this series. I know a few people who are reading it or have read it, and they say it's great. This book has everything I like in fantasy, says Jim Butcher. Good struggling against darkness, intense action scenes, gorgeously flawed human beings. This is Larry Correia of the Monster Hunter series, and I believe this is his first attempt at epic fantasy. And this is one of the books that I told Sean I was most interested in having a copy of, so definitely going to review this one. Love Larry Correia and really excited to get into it. All right, and look at that. We have House of Assassins. I guess this would be book 2, Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, Larry Correia, House of Assassins. Okay. Oh, look at that art. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Baen is the best. Come on. Come on. Baen is the best, you guys. This, I guess, would be book 3, Destroyer of Worlds. Oh, wow. Look at the map inside there. Whoops, let me hold that up for you. Look at that map. That's beautiful, beautiful stuff. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so lucky. What a lucky boy. I can't wait. Look at the beautiful art. Can't wait to read this. Ooh, how about that one? How about that one? Looks great. All right, and that finally does it for the Baen box. We have an empty box here. Okay, now I'm going to share some books with you that I got for Christmas. This is Dashiell Hammet, The Maltese Falcon. My stepdad gave this to me. This is a 1930 detective novel. Look at the inside of that, by the great noir fiction writer Dashiell Hammet. This was originally serialized in the pulp magazine The Black Mask, and the main character is the famous detective Sam Spade, notorious for his cold detachment, his keen eye for detail, and his manly, unflinching sense of justice. This is Dashiell Hammet's hard-boiled, crime fiction novel, one of the best crime fiction novels of all time. I have not read it, but I have definitely seen the 1941 film noir classic, The Maltese Falcon, and I got this along with the book. So time to read the book and then watch the film again, starring Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor there. Very good stuff. All right, next up we have the Folio Society edition. This was a Christmas present as well of A Feast for Crows. I'll say it again, Song of Ice and Fire is my favorite modern fantasy series, and George R. R. Martin at this point is my favorite living fantasy author, I would say, when he's writing. And so when Folio Society came out with their own edition of Song of Ice and Fire, I knew I had to have them. They've been putting out like one book per year for the last several years. So every year I've been getting the next edition that comes out for Christmas. Take a look at that beautiful art. I'm hoping that by next Christmas we'll have some better idea of when Winds of Winter will come out. I'm sure they'll have Dance with Dragons out for next Christmas, but then it's like, who knows if Winds of Winter will be ready for the following Christmas after that. So just some really, let me show you some of the art in this. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff here. Love Folio Society with these cloth-bound books. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay, we have Neverending Story by Michael Ende. It's kind of funny that his name is Michael Ende, but this is supposed to be the Never-Ending Story. Although Michael Ende is German, so it's probably pronounced that way, Ende. Anyways, take a look at this cover. Most people don't even know that the Neverending Story was originally a book. Definitely, if you were an 80s or 90s kid, this will be one of your favorite childhood movies. One big difference in the book, though, is that even though the first 3/4 of the book is pretty much the same as the movie, one big difference is that when Bastian actually gets to the fantasy world, Atreyu is there, but he's colored green. He's actually green. Also in the book, the fantasy world that Bastian goes to is not called Fantasia, but is called, in this book, Fantastica. Okay, so that's interesting. I'll be reviewing this book soon, as soon as possible. Maybe I'll do a little comparison of how the book differs from the film that we've all seen. Well, that is, if you're a Gen Xer or a millennial, there's no way you haven't seen Neverending Story. Next up, Ayn Rand and the World She Made by Anne C. Heller. This looks like it's got a lot of good reviews from many important scholars and thinkers. This is a biography of Ayn Rand. I've already listened to about half of it in the car on audiobook on the way to and from work, and I'm just loving it. So I thought I'd buy the hardcover edition. I've loved Ayn Rand for a long time. I wouldn't call myself a full out-and-out objectivist or anything like that, but I do find Rand's philosophy compelling, and I think that some of her predictions have come true, unfortunately. I read her book, The Romantic Manifesto. I've read her fiction, Anthem, Atlas Shrugged, The Fountainhead. Actually, The Fountainhead is one of my favorite books of all time, and I think it's her finest novel, in my humble opinion. And so I have decided to review The Fountainhead probably in the next month or so here. The Fountainhead is about a brilliant young architect who is attempting to make his way in a field and in an industry where there's just so much groupthink, and he's trying to be an original, inspired creator in a landscape, in a milieu that's just bogged down with a kind of stultifying collectivism that really hates the individual in man. And so I won't say anything more about Ayn Rand or her work right now, because I'll save that for the review that I do. Up next, we have the great Dracula by Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker's masterpiece, the original vampire story. This is Folio Society. Just a beautiful edition of this. I don't believe that... Oh, it is illustrated a little bit. Yeah, it is illustrated, as are most Folio Society books. Love the cover here. I bought this for my wife for Christmas. She is a big vampire novel person, and so she's going to start reviewing vampire novels on this channel. Okay, up next, we have The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This is another one I got for Christmas. If you're a boomer or a Gen Xer or a millennial, you've probably seen the Rob Reiner movie 100 times. I know very little about the book, except that Goldman uses this kind of meta frame technique to tell the story. If you remember from the movie, Fred Savage is in bed reacting to the book, staying home and playing sick, faking sick. Kind of like Bastian, actually, from Neverending Story. I'm not sure if the original novel does this, but I know William Goldman in the book that I'm holding is kind of pretending that a made-up writer, S. Morgenstern, is actually the author of Princess Bride. You'll remember that from the movie. But you can see that the art for this book is amazing. It's like comic book art. You can see there. I'll see if I can find another one for you. Look at that. Beautiful comic book art. I think that matches up really well with the tone and tenor of Princess Bride. So I've seen the movie more times than I can count. My wife is the biggest fan you can imagine of Princess Bride, but I have never read the book, and I always see it at the bookstore. So I think, it's time to give it a go. I don't have too much to say about this one. This is Akira. I wanted to buy my wife manga, and I didn't know where to start because I don't know anything about manga, and so I went to the comic book store and I asked the proprietor there what I should get, what's a good place to start with manga, or is it manga? Correct me in the comments if you know how to pronounce it. And this is book 1 of Akira. I guess this is a futuristic Tokyo, cyberpunk, that sort of thing. Black and white art, looks really cool. This is we're almost done here, the Paul McCartney songbook. This is the stories behind the songs, and I'm a pretty big Beatles fan, so this is looking pretty good to me. It's kind of a coffee table book. I got this from my mother-in-law, and nice hardcover, glossy. And last up, I'm going to share with you the new Buffy comics that I've purchased. This is season 11. Seasons 8, 9, and 10 were put out by Dark Horse Comics, and then Dark Horse Comics dropped Buffy, and then Boom Comics picked it up, and that's what season 11 looks like. My wife is a huge Buffy fan. She's the one who got me into Buffy, and so we're watching Buffy right now so that we can make a top list of our 14 best Buffy episodes, and we'll go through each one, and I'm sure she'll, when she's done, review the comics as well. The art is pretty great in here, as you can see. Looks like Boom did a really nice job there, and it looks like some of the original artists stayed on as well, though I could be wrong about that. And this is season 12. Season 12. These are part of the Buffy anthologies, so they don't match up with the earlier seasons, but they still look really, really good. And I'd show you the art, but I haven't even opened this one yet. This is season 12. All right, we're going to finish up with my 2022 channel plans. That would be iWizard through the months of January and February. My next book review is going to be Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. You'll know that I recorded my review of Empire of Silence. That's book 1 of the Sun Eater series. My next review will probably be tomorrow, or it might come out the next day, and that will be Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. Probably will finish that book tonight or tomorrow morning. And here's a look at my 10 tentative upcoming schedule for the channel. So again, Howling Dark there. Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Probably review that book. We'll do a short review of that maybe on the 19th. Have a half day at work. A long time until now. I held this book up today by Michael Z. Williamson. That will be January 23rd. Demon in White by Christopher Rocchio, the third book in the Sun Eater series, and that will be the 30th. And then there's going to be an interview. Christopher Rocchio is actually coming on this channel, and I'm hoping to do that in early to mid-February. We had originally scheduled the 29th of January, but I want to make sure I'm done with his book, so I asked him if we could postpone, and he said certainly. Neverending Story by Michael Ende, that would be February 6th. Dragonbone Chair, Tad Williams, that would be February 13th. I'm having a discussion with another booktuber, another content creator, Jake Bishop. Love his content, on February 19th. That'll be my February break off of school. Then The Stone of Farewell, Book 2 in the Tad Williams' Austin Ard world. That will be February 22nd. Then coming up next is The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. I'm hoping to do that one February 25th. And then big announcement, Mike from Mike's Books, one of the great, all-time great booktube, fantasy and sci-fi booktube channels. Mike is coming on at some point on my February break, somewhere between February 21st and February 27th. Mike is a great guy, and I will link to his channel below. Also, keep in mind that this schedule doesn't include the episodes that Nikki will be doing. She'll be reviewing all of the Expanse books, and she's doing vampire books, and I think she's going to review that Tim Powers book that I held up earlier, and that sort of thing. And by the way, this is a tentative schedule. This is basically my ideal scenario. It's what I hope I'll be able to get through. But of course, life happens sometimes, and so I can't promise I will make all of those dates, but I'm going to try. That's it for today. Again, catch up with me on Goodreads, Facebook, Patreon. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. And until next time, ta-ta.